Hello. It is Tuesday, the 6th of August. Guess what? Today's pen is Dean Winchester. I'm not doing it any justice in here, but Supernatural. Oh my gosh. I bought it on Etsy and had it shipped all the way from America because it's Dean Winchester. And do you know what I realised? Last night in my live, completely coincidental, was not planned. I was wearing my Supernatural t-shirt. So, yeah, you have to excuse my tummy. It does this when I go live. But yes. So we're going with a Supernatural theme today. But yeah. Okay, so we've got about an hour and you know what to do. Grab your kits, come join me. Today, I don't have a plan, okay? I just want to sit here. I'm going to drink my tea and, yeah, you can see me diamond painting, but I'm just going to drink my tea and chat. Okay, now I'm going to say, take what you want from what I say. Because, yeah. Okay. I want to begin with a little bit of background. Okay, I'm not going to get into the deep, dark and heavy, even though I kind of have to talk about me. But I have suffered extreme abuse on every level of the word by one person. Well, it started with one person, but yeah, all of it. Okay, the criminal side, physical, financial, emotional, all of it, the whole thing. Very, very toxic. It was, my mum married him, and then he was part of our family. So yeah, I went through that for close to 30 years. And it was relentless. Now, when someone is in that position, whether you've come out the other side or not, whether you are healed from it or not, people in the universe seem to have a radar, and then we get these boyfriends who treat us like rubbish, and just as toxic and just as horrible. They've got a radar for it. Because if I look back now at all my ex-boyfriends, they wouldn't stand a chance. That's how far I've come, and that's what this message is. That's what this message is all about. But I went through all of that. Then we took him to court and he walked. It is what it is. And then we moved home back to Essex because I was up north. Then we get settled here. And best thing we ever did. Because you can't... If I was still in Blackpool, you would still be walking around all of those memories and everything else, So the best thing we could do is come home, and we did. Then I went into nursing, and I did that for 18 months. Well, first of all, I had to go to college and gain all of my GCSE qualifications because I didn't sit any at school. So I had to take my GCSEs in order to gain the qualifications to get into college to do courses which would then lead me to uni. I had my plan laid out, right? So I knew what courses I needed, I knew what qualifications I needed, and there you go. Come uni, because I passed all of them, come uni, I'm asked in for an interview. Positive first step. And I had my interview and I got offered a place on my nursing course. amazing. I was on cloud nine, right? No sooner have I started uni and I'm sitting in the class and, I'm making acquaintances. They weren't really friends, I don't think, but I was there 18 months, right? And the idea is you do some time in uni doing lectures and everything else. Then you do half your time on an actual ward, all different wards. So you could be anywhere and everywhere. And that's what we did. And one day, 18 months in, I might add, one day I was on placement and I got a phone call from Reese's school. Bearing in mind he was very much younger then. I'm talking 6, 7, maybe. At a push 8. You need to come get him. My mum was at work, so she couldn't do it. Cole was too young, obviously, at that time. So I went back to the ward and I said, hey, I'm really, really sorry, but I need to leave. I've got to go get my son from school. And this was a half-hour drive, 45-minute drive. So I have to go. And they were like, no. And I was like, yes. If someone called about your child, I'm damn sure you would leave. So I'm off. I'm just a student, not an essential part of the ward. But my son comes first. I went and got my son, sorted all of that drama out. And then I got told by the uni I'm on suspension. What? Okay, I'm on suspension. And this went on for months. Months ticked by. I was not allowed to go to uni. I was not allowed to go on placement. Sat at home, twiddling my thumbs, waiting. They eventually cleared me of any wrongdoing because they said I posed a danger to patients. They eventually cleared me of any wrongdoing and said, please come back. And I went, shove it. Excuse me, we would really, really like you to come back. No, shove it. You suspended me for all this time. I've missed all that time at uni. Now I'm way behind everybody else. Shove it. Don't want it. No, not coming back. And I didn't. A short time after that, I went to therapy. That was a whole process. I had to get referred and everything else. But it was a whole process. But I got into therapy. And I had to wait 8 months for this specialised therapy. And I did so. Patiently waited. Then I went to therapy. And yeah. I walked in on my very first day. And I looked at her and I said, I don't need therapy. What I need is when I'm having a bad day, I always revert back to my history. And I always hear, you're useless, yeah, all that negative voices in my ear. And she just looked at me, she kind of grinned at me and went, sure, take a seat. I was there 8 weeks, right? Because obviously I needed it. She knew I needed it. I knew I needed it. But yeah, she was amazing. Do you know, not once did I see a notebook in her hand or a laptop or anything. And I used to come in week after week and she would refer to people by name. You know, I was talking about all different people and she would refer to people by name. And I'm like, you have a superpower or something. How do you do that? She was obviously making notes and reviewing them before my next appointment. But she was amazing. And slowly but surely I opened up and I talked to her and shared a lot of stuff. One day she sat there and she said, your dad left at a young age. That's traumatic. That is trauma. Bully came along. Every kind of level of trauma. Like, you know, she listed them all off. Your boyfriend beat you up when you were 7 months pregnant. trauma. Your boyfriend left you when you were halfway pregnant, 20 weeks. So that's what, 4, 8, 12, 4 months pregnant, say, just rounding it off. Trauma. Losing a child, trauma. Having a C-section and almost losing the second child, trauma. She just listed it all off. And I got in my car and I was fine because I had to get home, right? So I got in my car and I drove home, picked up my kids because my aunt lived next door at the time, picked up my kids, and she said, how did it go? And I said, good. It was good. And she's like, do you want a cup of tea? I was like, no, I just need to go home. And she's like, okay. Normally I have a cup of tea with her, and yeah, I was just like, no. And I was keeping it together. I got inside, I shut the door, I went to my room, and I just cried. I just absolutely broke. I pulled myself together enough, to put on the brave face, sorted the kids out. They were in bed, ready for school the next day and whatnot. I went back to my room and I just sobbed. And I did that. I always spoke to my mum after my therapy session, and I went, I love you, but I can't talk right now. And she was like, okay, please check in with me though. And I was like, yes, yeah, I'm okay, but I can't do this right now, I can't chat, right? So I just broke, and I spent a couple of days doing that. Pulled it together, got the kids breakfast, they went to school, broke. I kept doing it because I realised just how traumatic my whole life had been. My whole life. It was heartbreaking. I went back the following Wednesdays to go Wednesday evenings. I went back the following Wednesday and I went, thank you very much, because that was horrible. That was horrible. She said, let's unpack it. So we did. And then she said to me, pretty much along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, because obviously this was a good few years ago now. You faced every single trauma that I listed, and you went home and you thought about every single trauma that I listed. I was like, yes, I did. And it hurt like hell. She said, you've done that completely sober. And I said, what do you mean? She said, you didn't turn to drink. You didn't turn to drugs. You didn't turn to harming. You didn't turn to anything kind of toxic, because a lot of people become promiscuous and stuff. You didn't go down that avenue, and I kind of did, but not extremely, but yeah. Anyway, one or two, but I did it relatively. There was nothing to numb it. I just lived it. And I said, well, I guess the way that I survived it is I just shut it down. That happened, move on. That happened, move on. And that's the damage that I find now. I'm not as on it as much as I would like to be business-wise, and supporting other people or their events or anything like that. I'll say, hey, just sign me up. Regardless, every time you have an event, sign me up. Just, you've got gift cards, just take them, just use them, because that's done, move on. I forget things. So when I say you have full access, that's what that means. You can use as many gift cards that you just, use them for your events. I've got you, and do that. those that I'm close with, obviously. But yeah, that's the damage it's done now. I can't always retain information, because that happened, move on, right? That it's kind of the damage that it's done, even though there's nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing toxic, because we're getting there, but I'm in a far stronger place than I ever imagined I would be. Mentally, physically, like mentally, emotionally, everything. I'm in a much different space. So I had my therapy. Then I kind of found myself doing mind, body, spirit events, which I thought would be good for the soul, because I'm I believe in angels, I believe in tarot, I believe in all of this Reiki and all of that. I believe in all of that. Very strong believer in all of that. Spiritual lifestyle, angels and all of that. And I think I emphasised that by having empathy for others and being generous with others, because what you put in the universe you get back, right? So I began my mind, body, spirit events, and bear in mind this was way out of my comfort zone. I had to deal with people, had to do small talk and organise things, which I love doing, but it was out of my realm, really. You know, being around people, yeah, it can get a bit tricky. And I mean, the pandemic is what put an end to that. So, yeah, I had to cancel everything and it all just happened. But that became a very toxic environment, and it was quite eye-opening, because you're supposed to be all love, peace, harmony and love for other people. But they really weren't that kind of people. You know, people were talking about other people, and then they were talking about me, and other people coming to me and telling me what was said. And I was so upset. I took myself out of the venue, and I stood in the car park almost in shock. You know, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm never going to be everyone's cup of tea. But you don't have to be horrible about it. Just go away then. You know what I mean? But it got to the point where I was booking venues, and this one person who actually kept coming up in therapy, this one person kept booking the venue a week before I did. So I cancelled mine, because you can't have two mind, body, spirit events within a week of each other. And she kept booking it before I got there. So I turned around and I wanted to say, oh my God, I think she's such swear words. And I was getting ready to go, she's such, you know, this type of person. And what came out of my mouth was, she can have it. And even I stood back and went, what? She can have it. She can have the venue. I'll cancel all future events. And they were all like, what? And I went, I tell you what, you can go tell her that I personally wish her well. I wish her well with what she's doing. And I walked away, like, scratching my head, thinking, where on earth has this come from? Because I was so mad, right? So, not what I intended to say at all. Then slowly people stopped coming to me and telling me what she'd said, because when they did, I was like, good luck to her and what she's doing. I wish her well. So slowly the gossip died down, because what do you mean she wished me well? How dare she? How can you retaliate to that? Do you know what I mean? That kind of killed that drama. But I have no idea where that came from, whether my angels stepped in or something, because what I wanted to say didn't come out my mouth for sure. And that's kind of what I've tried to do moving forward. Now, I started my YouTube channel because I garnered inspiration from watching other people. I began diamond painting in November 2019. I was looking for cross stitch. Diamond painting kept coming up on these things, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, plastic things on a sticky canvas, are you for real? This is what this is? Alright, I'll order some. We all know how that turned out, okay? We all know how that turned out. Got hooked pretty quickly. Yeah. So, it's November 2019. Shortly after that, obviously, the pandemic hit. Put a stop to everything. We were all locked inside our houses. And I found all of these diamond painters on YouTube. And they were an inspiration, I guess. Because I was like, hang on. So you're telling me that you went on, at the time when I first started, it was eBay. You know, it's quite laughable now looking back at those. I was so proud of them. Like, eBay, Wish, Shein was awful. I would never go back there. All these kind of AliExpress, all these kind of sites where people were going, I guess, or what I stumbled across. And I thought, well, I've got a batch of orders from AliExpress. Maybe I'll give it a go. So 3rd of April 2020, I set up Diamond Painting Fanatics, the channel. Never changed it because I was fanatical about diamond painting. That's how the name began. So I did my unboxing, and then slowly but surely, 10 subscribers, 15 subscribers, and I'm like, whoa, what? Oh my God. Yeah, that's how I began my journey. And for the longest time, I just, even now, I embrace this as a hobby. And it's a hobby that you and I both share. You're as fanatical about diamond painting as I am. Now, that's how my YouTube journey began. And it was getting more and more, you discover pens, then you discover trays, then you discover Diamond Art Club, then, do you know what I mean? And everything just moves forward and you grow and expand with your hobby. And it's been fun to kind of look back on that. Now, I went to look up my very first video just to see when it was. And it was in May of 2020. And I came across a video that I did. And I thought, harsh thoughts while diamond painting? What on earth was that? So I sat, it was so bizarre. I sat looking at myself in 2020. And Reese had a YouTuber that he followed religiously, and there was clickbait going on that he ended his life. And I sat with him while we Googled to see if it was clickbait or if it was fact. Turned out to be fact. He did, in fact, end his own life. And he was so distraught. So obviously I was there for him, nursing him through that. And then several other things were coming up at the same time in that process while I was diamond painting. So I came on. And I kind of talked about that for a short while. It's only a 15-minute long video. But I kind of felt sorry for that girl. Because the girl I was watching, because you can see the pain when she's talking of her own. I didn't go into my trauma or anything. But I just put a plea out there that don't ever feel so alone that you feel the need, the only way out, or you feel the need to take your own life, because it's tragic, isn't it? It's tragic to be that low. And I can hand on heart say I've never been down that avenue, because I had my 2 kids. Had I not had my kids, it may have been different. But my therapist, I went back to her after that week that she broke me. I went back and I went, thanks for that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that was hard to go through. But what she did in that instance was make me even stronger, because she made me realise that trauma upon trauma upon trauma, it never broke me. And when I say broke, I mean I didn't turn to drink or drugs or harming or anything. I just soberly went through it. And that's what she made me realise in that week. Now, I'm no different to Joe Blogs. Like, we have all of us, every single one of you listening right now, has suffered some form of trauma in your lifetime. Okay? I'm no different. I had just it's just been relentless. You know, but my message, and I don't want to dwell on that. I'm getting tearful now, but I don't want to dwell on any of that, and I don't want a pity party. I'm not for the pity party, but I want to give you an insight to who I am on a personal level. That's kind of what's brought this on today. I just want to give you insight into who I am as a person to where I am now, because no matter what your circumstances, however bad your past was, there is closure to be had. You have to put the work in. You can't dodge and dive it, because eventually it catches up with you. Then so begins that again. You know, you start dodging it and all of that, and that's not healthy. Not healthy. It is a coping mechanism, but it's not a healthy one, as I learnt, because I found out when I got into uni I just couldn't. Yeah, I felt like an imposter, even though I'd worked my backside off and earned it just as much as everybody else. I didn't feel worthy of it, and that was my issues from my past. So it catches up with you. But moving forward, you know, I'm going to go backwards and forwards as we go. I began my YouTube life, and people would come along, and then you form a friendship and all of that fun stuff, you know. Then you have a falling out. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a very different person now to who I was when I first started YouTube, and this is hard to explain, but since I moved into this house, which was Easter, I feel like a very different person. I feel stronger. I feel able to say, that's not very nice. I don't appreciate that. But I just feel differently. I feel more equipped to deal with situations. But when I first started on YouTube, 2020, 21, even 22, I want to say, I was still battling depression in a very heavy way. I was still battling depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I would get triggered by people, and I would end up saying something. There was a situation, I'm going to try and keep this as general as I can, but there was a situation where I was supporting someone, also benefited my channel. I'm not, it was a two-way thing, but over time, and I mean over months and months and months, I felt that it was all one-sided. I was giving far more than I was getting back. There was empty promises made. There was excuses made. I just wasn't getting the same back. And one day I turned around, not very eloquently, and I'd said I'd had enough. I feel this way, I feel that way. And you can't argue with how I feel. You can tell me I'm misunderstanding the situation and try to get me to see it in another perspective, but I felt it. And I thought, I'm not putting up with this. This is not fair. This is not right. I feel justified. So it was all very private. And it's still very private. It's not public knowledge. But it was a diamond painting company owner. And it was difficult. So we both agreed to take a step back, because words were said both sides. We both agreed to take a step back, and it turned out to be permanent. But I began to feel better. And I was sad. I was sad because I trusted this person. They told me a lot of stuff too. So we trusted each other, but the friendship broke down. And I still believe that I was right. Because I was. It's how I felt. And I wasn't wrong in what I was saying. And I've even gone back to that conversation several times. And I didn't do it in the most eloquent way. I could have handled it better. But I was right. And justified. In my opinion. They will have a different opinion. But in my opinion, it was fine. We walked away. All is good, right? And that's happened several times. Whether it be with a content creator or I don't know. I mean, there is twice that I have gone public with a situation, and that's because I was very much involved in them. My name was very much attached to them, and I needed to clear the air and put people straight. Now, when I do that, I come at you with fact. It's not my opinion. It's not he said, she said. It's not anything. I come bearing facts to back up what I'm saying. Now, should I have gone public with that information? Probably not. Probably not. Could the friendship be repaired? The most current one? Yes, but no. 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 Because again, I don't know how to word this. It was detrimental to my own mental health. That's all I'm going to say. It was just detrimental to my own mental health, and I had to now step into me and not put up with things I did not want to put up with. I don't want to talk about other people 24/7 or listen to people talking about other people 24/7 either. You know, you kind of have to step out and look after your own mental health. And if any friendship or any relationship is affecting you on a day-to-day basis, it got to the point where I was dreading picking up my phone. The little green light goes on and boom, you know, it got to that point, and I thought, no, I have loads of friends that I want to talk to. I shouldn't be in hiding. And I spoke to this person privately and said, enough is enough. I want to step down. I want to step away. And we all know how that went, okay? If you know, you know. But we all know how that went. And that's cool. Because, in my opinion, the reaction backfired. But it is what it is. You have every right to look after your own mental health. And it's okay to say, I'm not putting up with that behaviour. Thank you very much. And I've started doing that a lot more recently. I don't want to put up with that behaviour. Yeah. And I'm not here to cause friction or drama. I don't want it. I could so easily bring in the drama. I could so easily do it. But it's not who I am. And I sit quietly. I say nothing. And I watch people and how they react. And it gets noted. Okay? I sit back and just observe. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy to do that. Because people love a drama. Yeah. So I am pulling back from people that are not good for my mental health. And I feel stronger in myself to do so these days. And my message is, doesn't matter what you've been through, doesn't matter what you're going through, because there will come a time where you look back. I almost look back at myself like my inner child. She's always there. She knows what she's been through. And yes, she still needs nursing. I am very, very sensitive. I can be oversensitive. I can pick up things that are general. But I'm like, well, that was a dig at me. Even though it wasn't. I'm very, very sensitive. And I'm aware of that. Hence, I always step back. I always step back and assess the situation for what it is. And that's okay. That's allowed, right? I'm not coming for them. I'm not causing issues for them. I'm just watching. And I think that's the best way to handle it. Mouth shut, eyes open. Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when I find myself in a situation where I feel disrespected or used, all of those negative connotations, I sit back and I assess the situation before reacting to them. You know, I talk to my friends. That's very different. I'm surrounded by very good friends who I can say, hey, I feel this way about this situation. And sometimes they pull me back from the brink and be like, I think you're over assessing this, or they agree. So the whole moral of this is that regardless of whether I'm a YouTuber or a business owner and so on and so forth, I'm a human at the end of the day. I'm entitled to my thoughts and opinions. I just don't come out publicly and deal with that, because I need to step back sometimes from situations, but I do pull back immediately. I do pull back, and yeah, you know, and then I look after my friends around me also, you know. So yeah, this community is one. It can be very toxic. It can be very cliquey. If you're not in with the in crowd, you're never going to get in with the in crowd. It's a hobby. It is just a hobby. And I started my YouTube journey with just that. You know, and that's all it is. We're supposed to sit back and enjoy what we're doing, enjoy what we purchase. Some of us have channels and we share that. Some of us don't, or some of you guys don't, I should say, because I do. But it's just a hobby. Like, it's not that important. You know, it's not worth climbing over other people. It's not worth putting down other people, and just enjoy what you purchase, what you work on, and enjoy making content for your channels. Doesn't have to be bitchy and snidey and all of that. I struggle now to find channels that just enjoy their hobby. Obviously, my idols all do. That they are fully aware, regarding of their climbing numbers, that they have very well earned on their own merit, and they will always have people that jump on that. Try to get close to the content creator and all of that. Have at it. Have at it. If you think that's how you're going to build your channel, you're not doing it from a very genuine place. Whereas me and some of my very close friends who are on YouTube, we just share the passion for it. And you've seen me, even though now I own a company. Let's get into that in a minute. But now I own a company. I thought I might lose the passion a little bit, but I was wrong. I was wrong. No, it's just grown. The only problem is now I get my hands on kits that I love, and I love working on, and I love doing my show and tells where I can. I just love it. I just love it. I enjoy my time on YouTube, and I think that shows. And that's what it's all about. Sharing the passion with friends. It's not even a fan base, I don't think. Yeah, I just enjoy diamond painting. I love sitting here making content for you guys. I've kind of bitten off more than I can chew, doing a whipping chat a day, and I've kind of taken a different tone today. Sorry, but yeah. So a couple of years ago, I sat back. I was still very good friends with a company owner at that time. And I kept it all very quiet. And I think this is kind of where the friendship went sideways. Now, I want to explain this, right? The best I can. I sat back and all of these companies in the UK were disappearing. Either they had a very bad reputation and they were chased out of town, so to speak, or some just couldn't maintain it, and they kind of scammed people. I was included in that, but yeah, and I sat back and I thought, I wonder if I could do that. So the idea was I was going to do customs and mysteries, because most of the companies were disappearing that were offering that. And I went and I bought kits from different suppliers. Now, behind the scenes, obviously no one knew anything. I was just carrying on doing my different things on YouTube, and no one was any of the wiser. I was just quietly testing suppliers behind the scenes. Then I worked up my own kits to test the quality of it. I didn't just come out one day and say, I'm going to start a company, and boom. There was a lot of testing behind the scenes, and I found a supplier that I thought could maintain that. But as I grew, they struggled. So we ended up with the supplier we have today, and they are professional. They know what they're doing, and we upgraded from when I very first began. Now, I did try to do it sort of anonymously, kind of, in the beginning. Come up with a company name, keep my YouTube channel. Now, I came on my channel, right? I've got my suppliers, I've worked up my kits, I've tested squares and rounds, all is good, all right? I still have the very first one I ever did, right? But yeah, from my company, and I came on YouTube and I said, guess what? I'm going to start a company. I can't remember how I worded it. It wasn't actually company, but I'm going to start my own business and blah, blah, blah. And my very loyal fanatics, and I call you all fanatics because we're all fanatical about diamond painting, and it's an affectionate term for all of you guys that have supported me from the get-go. Now, yeah, I came out and announced that I was starting a company, and you guys just rallied. You said, oh, okay, we'll give you a go. And various YouTubers did too, and they were shocked. They were shocked. They were like, whoa, the quality's, they were expecting fan cell quality, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, and that's where it began. I just quietly stayed on my own channel and built it up. And I refuse to sell my soul to make my company successful. I will not run to massive YouTubers who I feel have never been supportive of me as a person or as a company, never been taken seriously in that space. And why would you in the beginning? Why would you? I'm not going to go to run to the biggest YouTubers to promote my company. I want to grow organically, and that's what I'm doing. and it's who I am. So yes, I may not be business minded 110%. I may not throw my company in everyone's faces, because I refuse to sell my soul. Okay, that's how I see it. One day they will all come to me, and yeah, they will. I do intend on being a contender, and as big-headed as that may sound, you have to aim high. Otherwise, what you're doing here? And it's the same with your channel. You know, of course, who wouldn't want to be in the millions with subscribers? Who wouldn't want to be? There's no shame in that. I just find content creators are a little bit hypocritical. Oh, I don't care about numbers. Yet I do care about numbers because I keep talking about it all the time. If you're doing what you love, people will find you, is my motto. And it's the same with my company. I love my company. I think I have amazing products, and I need, like I said before, okay, you've heard my backstory, so a confidence thing is difficult for me to step into shoes that are uncomfortable. Why would I want to wear 6-inch heels and hurt my legs all day? Because I'm who I am. And yes, I think my products are amazing. Yes, I think my quality is up there with some of the very famous companies. And I will get there. I will get there. I'm growing slowly. I've speeded up in orders. I'm keeping up with that. And it takes time and dedication, if nothing else. And I love sharing that content with you guys, because that's not something you see very often. You know, the day-to-day kind of running of things, or showing off all the canvases. You guys love all that, and it's because of you guys. I get emails, you know, oh, can you show your orders when they come in? Yes, I can. You know, yes, I can. Because I'm passionate about it. And then I'm holding them up and I'm like, oh, I wish I ordered one of these because it's really awesome. And seeing it in person really does elevate that. So, you know, catch-22 for me. And now we've expanded. We've just expanded to cross-stitch kits, paint art by chart, and jigsaws. And where else can you get anything with licensed artwork to match, or licensed artwork to support my artists on other mediums, you know? And it's working. I have to say it's working. I got an order today for a jigsaw puzzle, so thank you very much. I'm super excited, and I work very hard, and I try to be different and come out with different things. And again, I don't follow what everyone else is doing. I just do what I think would work. And that's that. I'm just passionate about it. I love what I'm doing, and you guys are so supportive, like truly. Yeah, when I released everything new, you know, the Fanatic Creations part of the company, you guys just bombarded my inbox and emails. Amazing. The comments on the posts, amazing. Thank you, because without you guys I wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. I always like to try to pay it forward equally, you know. Yeah, and it's the same with my memberships. I don't push any of it. You know, if you guys want to join the memberships, that's great. That, you know, that's awesome. And a handful of you have been here from the minute I released them. Now, I was very close to someone, and I said to them, oh, I've got an email from YouTube saying I can do memberships. No, Dime painting companies, dime painting channels, they don't do any of that. Like, no, don't do that. So I didn't. Then when the friendship broke down, and YouTube's still emailing me saying, hey, you know, take advantage of having this many subscribers, like, and offer this and offer this. And I sat back and I thought about it, and I thought, what's the worst that can happen? I can offer it and people just go, no, thank you. Little did I know, of course, you all jumped on that just because it's me. And I find it all very overwhelming. I do find it all very overwhelming. And I'm so very grateful because you're helping me heal all of my trauma. And you're making me realise that I'm not a worthless, useless person. You're just here supporting me on my journey and helping me heal all that past trauma. Just because I decided to start a YouTube channel and a company, you know, you guys rock. And that is my message. That is my message for all of this. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't necessarily believe in myself. And you've helped me catch up with that. That's my message. You're helping me heal from past trauma, and bringing me into the person I am today. And as for my very, very close friends who I come running to, complaining and whining, and thank you. Thank you for just being you, because my friendship with you guys, it means the world to me, and you keep me sane, and you keep me from coming on here and going, hey, do you know what, I've had enough of this and I'm going to speak out, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I will deal with your disrespect and your behaviour my way. And yeah, I'm sorry you felt the need to be so disrespectful over me wanting to step back, or me thinking I was doing something nice for it to be thrown back in my face. All of it, you know, it's... You've shown me your true colours, literally, as I work on Colourful Kitty. You've shown me your true colours, and thank you for that, because it taught me to walk away. And it's taken me... I'm 45 now. I'm 45 years old. So it's taken me years to get to this point, to be able to go, I don't appreciate your attitude, and I'm out of here. Yeah. And that's where we're at, really. I will carry on doing my own thing, building up my Fanatic store, and spending my time with people who help me grow, and all of that, you know. It's very... I'm sorry. I know it's like, this video is really, really late, because I was halfway through it and I thought, I need to step out of this for a second, because I didn't want to come on and just whine and complain. It's a case of I have been to the very pits of despair, and now I'm coming out the other side. And yes, you're going to come across people who try to pull you back into depression or that kind of mentality, trying to get a rise out of you, so they can all sit back and go, oh my gosh, that was unfair. Well, no. You need the whole story, not one side of it, in my opinion. But there you go. I am strong, and I throw myself into my work, and I love what I do. And I love my channel. I love spending time with you. I love our friendships, whether they be on YouTube or privately. I have been very, very lucky. And those YouTuber people that I call friends, that I reach out to, thank you. Because you are very genuine people, and you're an inspiration, because that's what I want to be. Genuine. I don't want... You won't see me all over YouTube just being there because... yeah, it's... I'm selective. And if you have not giving me the time of day, then that's cool. You stick in your little clique and be on your merry way. I do wish you well. I do. I genuinely mean no malice or anything. If you're happy with your life and the way your channel is progressing, that's fabulous. But I will hang around with those that are very, very genuine on their content, on their lives. Yeah, and privately they share things with me that perhaps I wasn't privy to. We have very in-depth conversations sometimes, and that's what it's all about. Personal growth and aligning yourself with people who want the same. Yeah. I'm sorry, this has gone on very long and all of that. But I am proud of who I've become. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, I don't appreciate the way you are treating me or anything. Now, like I say, you have Cindy, well, okay, you have the mum, right, which is evident on my lives if Reese comes in or Carl comes in. We're all very close, and I love that about our relationships. So I'm a mum, right? I run a household, I run a business, I run a channel, I run events. I'm a very busy person, and I like to be busy. But I will never lose sight of that, regardless. And I like to align myself with very genuine people. And there you go. That's the moral of the story. Don't ever... If someone makes you feel off in any way, you feel awkward, or you're putting up with how can you put it, slighted remarks or comments or anything, don't be afraid to walk away. you know, there was a time, I think, in my height of depression, when Carl was very, very young. Again, I'm jumping all over the place. But when Carl was very, very young, I lived in a block of flats, and there was this lady in this block of flats, and she had a child a similar age. She had a girl, I had a boy, and they were very close, you know. And we spent a lot of time together. We would go around each other's for cups of tea. We would go out for days down the prom and all of this, you know. And I sat there one day and I caught myself because she was constantly complaining about her other friends. And she was just constantly doing it, complaining about all her other friends. And one day I just sat back and I thought, you're going to your other friends and complaining about me. Like, oh, she comes round all the time for cups of tea, even though you're invited. Do you know what I mean? But all of that. And I just, again, pulled away. I ended up moving away, but I was pulling away. And, yeah, it's all of that kind of thing, you know? Don't ever put up with any of that. Is my moral of the story. Because you're strong, you're awesome, you're fabulous, and you're worth so much more. And there are people in this universe that are on your wavelength. They want nothing but the best for you. They will defend you against the tide, which has happened by one of my idols. She stepped up and put her name on the line for little old me. And I've never forgotten that. And I thank her all the time for that. Yeah, she stood against the tide. And, you know, there are those people out there who will fight your corner. So find those people, is what my moral of the story is. And just do you. Just be you. Just be genuine. Just be honest with yourself, first and foremost. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you're not going to come across honest to everybody else. And I think it does get noticed. It annoys me sometimes that people don't see it, but I think people do. I think people do see it, you know, or they catch up eventually. But the community as a whole, from my experience, yes, I've had my issues with people, or content creators, or whatever, but I have a community around me, and it can be very awesome. And you can fall back on people and say, hey, I had this issue, can you give me your thoughts, am I overreacting? You know, things like that. And the community can be a very awesome place to be in. And I'm not going to be all negative and moany about it. I'm just giving you an insight into who I am. And yes, my feelings get hurt and noted. The line of communication has ceased. And I won't put up with it. And that's how I deal with it. And I'm just going to continue enjoying my hobby and enjoying running my company, because I have awesome products. Yeah. So there you go. I'm sorry. I've kind of gone all over the place tonight, and yeah, I'm sorry this video is late up, by the way. I normally aim for 6 o'clock, but you just heard my phone, right? It's 11 p.m. So I'm sorry it's very late, but it's all good. I want to give a massive shout out to all of you who are here right now, supporting me with the event. Some of you have bought canvases just to partake. It means so much. like, it's hitting me now that I need to own my own self and step into my own self just a little bit stronger. And it's because of all of you that have been here and supported me. And I appreciate you very, very much. And thank you for joining me for day 6, Whip and Chat. And I will see you tomorrow. What are we going to talk about? Gosh knows. We shall see. We shall see. Please, stay true to who you are. I love you for who you are, and I appreciate you so very much. Love, hugs, and sparkles to you all. Bye-bye.